So this is my client, Tiffany. Tiffany just finished Nourished and Free, and she's such a rock star. So I wanted to bring her on and share her story. Tiffany, why don't you start with just telling us about like what you do? What does your life look like? Where are you located at? Who are you?
Um, I am 37. I live in the northwest suburbs of Chicago in Illinois, and I am a mom of four kids, 8 and under, and a wife to a high school math teacher who also coaches multiple sports. So he's gone most of the day and into the evening. So it's kind of just the kids and I hanging out and doing everything throughout the day and school runs and activity runs. So that's
Yep.
what my days look like.
Life of the mom right there. It's a glamorous
Yeah.
life. Awesome. So I'm sure a lot of people can identify with being a mom and especially being mostly at home while their husband is out. What kind of challenges did you find that you were having while you were at home constantly, having to be taking care of the kids and then not maybe taking the best care of yourself? Like, tell us more about where you were at before starting this.
Before starting Nourished and Free, I, through pandemic, lived in the kitchen. I have four kids and they're growing and they're constantly hungry. So they were always asking for food. So I was always in the kitchen and I would find myself, I'll just have a little bit here and a little bit there. And it just escalated. And then with the stress of being home, afternoons, kind of that witching hour with kids gets a little crazy. And I would find myself binging a lot every day, sometimes twice a day in the afternoons, to the point where I was feeling sick. And then I would have to cook dinner for my family. And it was not appetizing to me because I felt so sick. And so then I struggled, and then I would put the kids to bed and I would binge again. And that was just the cycle I had fallen into. I definitely turned to food as a coping mechanism. And through the program, I've healed that relationship and learned how to not tie it to my emotions and just use food as a nourishment and not putting moral value with it, which has been huge.
Yeah. Tiffany, how many times a day would you say that you were binge eating before?
Minimum one, sometimes two or three, like
Okay.
that afternoon. And then after bed, I would binge too. And now I'm finding myself like, I don't really eat after dinner because my body has kind of fallen into like, I don't emotionally need that binge. So I'm not seeking out food. So,
Yeah. So now how many times a week would you say on average you're binge eating?
once,
Okay.
once, if any.
A
So,
week, right? That's
yes,
a
a
day.
week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from 14 to 21 times a week down to one.
Yeah. It's really been freeing.
Yeah, absolutely. What did that feel like before? And this is probably hard to even imagine at this point, but when you were struggling with that and kind of going through, okay, this is a problem that's coming up twice to three times a day. Like, how did that end up making you feel?
Oh, I felt like out of control. I had no control over my emotions and my eating, and my kids would say things because they're like, mom eats lots of candy or mom eats lots of chocolate, and I didn't want them having that example, which then made me feel worse. And it was just a circle that never ended, of binge. My kids say something, I feel miserable, binge, because emotionally I wasn't handling my emotions.
Right. Yeah. So at this point, 4 months later, you've conquered that. How does it feel now?
Super empowering. I wouldn't say I feel in control, but I don't have food controlling my life.
Mhm.
Um, it's been really awesome.
Yeah. Food doesn't have control over you.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love it. How do you feel in your body now? I mean, you've shared some really cool stories over the last 4 months about discovering some confidence there and appreciation. So kind of share what that's like for you right now.
Um, Letting go of the diet culture has allowed me to embrace the body I'm in right now. I don't I no longer exercise to change the way I physically look. I exercise because it emotionally makes me feel better. And I'm a better mom when I move my body,
Mm-hmm.
getting that my blood moving, and just psychologically, it's huge for me. I ditched my clothes that don't fit anymore. I let go of the standard that I need to look a certain way. After 4 kids, I'm not going to look like I did 3 years ago or 5 years ago. Um, this is what my body looks like now. And I'm going to choose clothes that make me feel comfortable
Yeah.
and wear them with pride, because this is my body and
Yeah.
how it is right now. So,
I love it. Can you share about the creation that you made?
well, I've made several things. I am a hobby sewist, seamstress, whichever you choose. And I have a tall torso. I'm short. I'm not short. I'm 5'9". So finding clothes has always kind of been a challenge. And then with my body changing, I have struggled to find stuff that I'm comfortable in that fits me. So I have invested in making clothes that I'm comfortable in, that I love. And so this summer I said, we had pool passes, and my kids are 2 and 4, so I have to be in the water with them. So I made myself 2 swimsuits, one of which is a bikini top with a high-waisted bottoms, and I rocked them this summer at the pool with my kids, and just let go of the fear of what people thought. It isn't worth it. There were other people who looked different than what media portrays, rocking 2-piece swimsuits as well. So I've just tried to use that to boost my confidence and hold my shoulders high as I wore it. So
So awesome. That's
really
so
freeing.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Something that we teach in Nourish and Free is that clothes are supposed to fit you. You're not supposed to fit into them. And so I love this, like, you're like, dang it, like they're supposed to fit me. So I'm gonna make them if they don't, like, I'm gonna find a way.
Yeah.
And that's just like, man, that shows strength and power if you can get to that place where you're like, no, I absolutely refuse to put myself through the misery of trying to change how I look so that I can fit into these things. Cause I hear that a lot. People want to lose weight just so they can fit into certain clothes. And then they're miserable, trying to do that. So I think that's so cool that you're just like, nope, I'm taking control. I'm going to make
Yeah.
it happen the way that I want it to happen.
Yeah.
Feel the way I want to feel. That's so good. What were some of the things that you tried before Nourish and Free to help with binge eating, a healthy relationship with food, and body confidence?
I sought out a practitioner, counselor, and the once a week meetings were great, but not having like the ability to go check in or visually see my materials, or shoot you a message, just that made the program a lot more worth it to me, because I can go back and look at things and I can chat with you. I had tried other programs and meal plans, and it just all became overwhelming.
Hmm. What was overwhelming about those to you?
When I wouldn't follow the meal plan, it was like all or nothing. So if I had a misstep, it was like, oh, I'll just start again tomorrow, and the rest of the day doesn't matter. And so I would end up binging. And I did shakes and supplements, and I would still feel hungry because I wasn't filling the emotional, physical need that my body wanted, as far as like, I was afraid to eat bread. Or like, I would only eat super fibrous, whole grain bread. Now I eat the bread my kids eat, and I eat less food because I'm eating what I want, and it makes me emotionally happy and physically full.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So what is different, you think, about this approach than what you were doing before with the shakes and the meal plans and even seeing a counselor and practitioner?
Making Taking the emotion away from it, taking away the expectations emotionally and the moral value I was putting on food, and just looking at food as fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Really diving into the emotions and the mindset, and making sure I'm taking care of myself in other ways outside of just eating and exercising.
Yeah.
The self-care things. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. We don't realize that our relationship with food is about so much more than the food. It's
yes.
about emotions and how we're caring for ourselves and our mindset around health and our relationship to exercise and stuff. And if we don't get into all of that, then it's like, forget it, then you end up in that all or nothing mentality that you were talking about, where it's either I do this or I don't, and then I'm a failure if I don't. There's not much
Yep.
room for opportunity to grow there if you're only focused on having the perfect diet. So yeah. Yeah. Um, Tiffany, what would you say to somebody that is in a similar position as you, where they're maybe a stay-at-home mom, or they have a lot of kids and they're feeling really stressed. They feel like they don't have a lot of time. And yet at the same time, they have this relationship with food where it's just totally controlling them. And they feel like they are out of control of food and they can't find that confidence with their body and that peace with the body that they live in. What would you say if they were considering enrolling in this program?
I would say it is well worth it to figure out a way to make the time. Um, Telling my oldest two children that this is my school, they are more open to like, okay, mom just needs a little bit of time to go listen to this so that she can be a better mom. And talking about how we care for ourselves. I've heard it multiple times. The analogy of, you in the airplane, they always tell you to put on your air mask first in the case of an emergency before you put on your child's or anyone else's, because if you're not helping yourself, you can't help other people. So I'm really trying to share that with my kids so that they don't get unrealistic expectations, and they realize that they have to care for themselves too before they can help others. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of times we feel like it's selfish to think about ourselves, especially when we have loved ones and kids. And we get really like, I don't have time to focus on myself. I just have to feed all these other people and focus on their needs. And then we end up not being the best version of ourselves for them.
absolutely.
And yeah, and I think, I remember you even saying in the beginning, like, I'm in a terrible mood by the time the kids got home from school because I would have just binged. And so then I'm like not a good mom for them or whatever it was, that you were feeling.
Yes.
And now it's like you're putting your best foot forward every day, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome. Any other comments or thoughts?
This morning as I was moving around, getting going, the way my body feels from cutting out the binging, reducing the sugar intake, like my aches and pains are less. It's not about weight lost. I physically feel better all the time.
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't feel ill every day. My knees don't hurt when I walk up and down our stairs. My lower back pain is gone because that inflammation from the sugar is
Yeah.
gone. It's
Yeah.
been huge.
Yeah.
So,
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's a pretty big myth that I hear a lot is I just have to lose weight so that my joints feel better. And that may help, but a lot more often than not, I see people like you, Tiffany, where when they're done, they're like, I don't, maybe I haven't even weighed myself necessarily, but I know that I feel better physically and
absolutely.
I wasn't focused on my weight at all. Right.
Yes.
And it's all about
Yeah.
that behavior change, getting to the root, figuring out relationship with food and with your body and setting yourself up for vitality,
Yeah.
thriving in life.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so awesome, Tiffany. You've been such a dream client.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you giving 100% and showing up and being like, nope, I'm going to make time for this. I'm going to make this happen because it's that important to me. So if you're watching this and you resonate with Tiffany's story at all, this is your sign to reach out for help. Because like Tiffany said, if we don't start taking care of ourselves, then we're not going to be the best version of ourselves for others. And it's worth it to just go ahead and find time. So yeah, send me a message or you can go to Michelle or go to yatesnutrition.com and you can book a discovery call with me and we can see if this is a good fit for you. So Tiffany, thank you so much for your time today. I know
You're
you've got
welcome.
busy life and lots of clothes to go and sew. So
Yes.
thank you so much. I appreciate your time and you've just been a dream.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Tiffany. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.